Dealing with cancer involves more than just the medical aspects of the disease. There are also the emotional and educational sides for both the person living with cancer and their caregivers. For the next few minutes, we'll discuss that part of the equation with Paula Rothenberg, CEO of the local organization called Hope Connections for Cancer Support. Good to see you. Good to meet you, actually.
Thank you, Bernie. Great to be here.
I love the name of the organization, and I guess it's relatively new as these things go, but give us some background on, you're an organization and a facility?
We are. We actually opened our facility in March of 2007 under a different name and changed our name just this summer. And the great thing about the process is that the people we serve really played a role in choosing that name. We first asked them just to come up with words that resonated with them when they thought of us. And hope was one across the board. Mm-hmm. So we had fun doing it. I mean, we put up, branding boards and they came up with all kinds of names. And it really was a wonderful process that they now feel that they own a part of our organization, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is a great aim. Hope Connections for Cancer Support. Who is this organization and the facility for? Who benefits from it?
The people who benefit are anyone affected by cancer. And we know that when someone in your family or your next door neighbor, a loved one of any sort, is diagnosed with cancer, that it affects you, it affects the people around you, it affects the people you work with. So we really exist for anyone who's been touched by cancer. And we're one of the few organizations that provide programs for people who are not the people with cancer, but the caregivers, which is a word we use very broadly. It can be a family member, a friend, an aunt, and it doesn't matter. If you love that person, you can come here and participate in those programs.
Mm-hmm. And you, if you don't mind my asking, you have a bit of a personal connection that got you involved in this, right?
I do. I must say I knew very little bit about cancer. I mean, I had a few friends who had been diagnosed. Luckily, most of them had come through it pretty well. And then in 2004, I lost my dad to leukemia. And right after, there was a family foundation locally called the Michelle Susan Kogod Memorial Fund who said, we want to open a cancer support center here in the greater Washington area. And a friend of mine told me about their interest in doing that. We connected and we started the process of raising the rest of the money needed to open the doors. Mm-hmm. So it was something I never thought, not a path I ever thought I would go down. And unfortunately, since that time, I've been touched a couple of other times. I lost my sister-in-law last year to ovarian cancer. Mm. But the good thing about the work we do is, as you and I discussed earlier, I know a lot more people who survive it than don't make it.
Right, and that's always good, and that has to be encouraging to people who are in the middle of all of this too. Wondering what their outcome is going to be.
Exactly, and we spend a lot of time and energy on quality of life. Whether you are going to have a successful outcome or not, you should have the best quality of life during whatever time you have left here. Mm-hmm. And that's really something that people focus on in our center.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some specifics relating to Hope Connections for Cancer Support. One obvious one, support groups, and you have various types. Tell us a little bit about that.
We do, and I think this is one of the things that makes us unique. First of all, we deal with people with all types of cancer. So we have over 50 different types of cancer in our participant database, things I'd never heard of before. And as my dear sister-in-law used to say, there are 2 times when you don't want to be different. She was a teacher. Mm-hmm. When you're in middle school and when you have cancer. So we're there for the people with the very rare cancers who have nowhere to turn. And I think we were able to provide a real service. We also do support groups for the caregivers, meeting separately. Because when you are diagnosed with cancer, as hard as it is, you kind of have a map. You know that you need to go to this treatment, you got this protocol, you can expect this. If you're the caregiver, you're shooting from the hip. You have absolutely no idea how to handle the situation. So we're there to help you navigate that road.
Mm-hmm. And you also have a bereavement group?
We do. This grew out of, we listen really carefully to the needs of our community. So we have, most of our weekly groups are all cancer groups. We have monthly groups that are cancer-specific groups. based on the needs of our community. So, for example, we have a bladder cancer group. We're one of only 7 bladder cancer support groups in the country. We have a breast cancer support group, a lung group, and an ovarian gynecological group. What grew out of our caregiver group, when some of those people lost their loved one, they said, we don't want to go anywhere else for a bereavement group. We want to be here. So it really grew out of that demand, and it is now a weekly group. So people come and go through that group, but it's a very important part of what we do.
Oh, yeah. Good, good. We're talking with Paula Rothenberg, the CEO of Hope Connections for Cancer Support. A couple other specifics about what you do. You have a stress management programs?
We do. We call them our mind-body programs, and they are two things that those are designed to address. One is to reduce the stress in your life. The second is, with some of the programs, is to rebuild core strength. So to give you an example, we have a man who has been coming to us now for about 3 years, pancreatic cancer. Well, he lost 54 pounds when he had his surgery. He couldn't stand and talk to you for more than 2 or 3 minutes. So he goes to support group, but he also goes to yoga twice a week. And he credits yoga with giving him his core strength back. And now you'd never know. You could he could stand for hours and talk to you.
Yeah. No, that's definitely beneficial. We mentioned, and we've got so many things that we can cover because you do so many things. But one thing a couple of specifics that stood out when I was digging through your website and the educational programs that you offer, 2 in mind, Moving Forward and Look Good, Feel Better. Tell us about those 2.
Well, and anyone who's interested, because we do have a lot that we offer, and you can go on our website, which is hopeconnectionsforcancer.org, and get a whole list of what our mind-body programs are, our educational workshops. We do 3 education programs a month. The Moving Forward is actually a series. One of the things that we hear all the time is that the most difficult point in the cancer journey for someone who has been diagnosed and treated is the day that they say, okay, your treatment's done. Your life doesn't look the same. What do you do? How do you take care of yourself? There's no one now, you're not going back to your doctor to check in and see how you're doing, except for maybe once a year. So this program includes exercise, nutrition, and emotional support, all 3 of those components. And it's a 4-week program, and we're right smack dab in the middle of it right now.
Yeah. And then the other one, the Look Good, Feel Better, you were talking about quality of life. And certainly a lot of people who go through cancer go through chemo, and that and other things affect their appearance, which can affect lots of other aspects of their life and their quality of life.
Well, we're very lucky to have a great relationship with the American Cancer Society, and this is actually one of their programs. So we are one of the sites for this particular program. We offer it every other month, and it is specifically designed for women who are in the midst of treatment. What do you do when you have no eyebrows or eyelashes and your skin has changed dramatically and you have no hair? This program shows you how to take care of your skin, what things will work well with your skin, how to apply makeup, how to apply false eyelashes, how to put on a wig, what kind of wig will look good with you, how do you wrap a scarf, what other things can you do to make your physical appearance improve. And it's remarkable because the name is perfect. Mm-hmm. You do look good and you absolutely feel better.
These are all wonderful programs. What do they cost to the participants?
Absolutely nothing. We do not charge anything for any of our programs. And the reason for that is that cancer costs a lot of money. Even if you make a good salary, even if you have a good nest egg, you drain your nest egg. You tap out your 401k, your pension's gone. Even if you have good insurance, you usually, if you have a serious diagnosis, you tap out your maximum amount that is due to you, so you're then paying out of pocket. Medication is extremely expensive. We don't want coming to us to be a choice.
No, that's great. And any time that you have an organization that's providing these kind of things at no cost to the participant, I know that means you have funding and volunteer needs. So tell us what those are.
So glad you brought that up, Bernie, because as you know, free does not mean free. Right. We still need to turn on the lights and pay staff and get supplies. So we are funding mix is kind of traditional nonprofit sources. We do way too many special events. We do an annual appeal that will be going out in the next couple of weeks. We do get corporate and foundation support. At present, we don't get any government funding. And we participate in workplace giving campaigns, which is, right now it's active workplace giving campaign.
Right.
Time.
Yeah.
So
End
anybody
of the year,
who's
people are feeling
that's right.
generous, and this is a good place to direct their generosity.
Yeah.
And
and we are a pretty small organization, so it doesn't take a lot for us to be able to provide our programs efficiently and effectively. So even small donations mean a great deal to us.
Yeah, excellent. We have a minute or two to go. Anything else that you'd like to add or repeat?
Well, I'd like to remind people to go to our website because in addition to coming in our doors, and by the way, we have a wonderful resource library that also includes, we have a couple of books that have financial information on how you can access Social Security disability payments, try and get your medication underwritten. It's a lending library, so we have lots of books, lots of information from other national cancer organizations on specific cancers. But our website also has a lot of links for good resources, and there's some wonderful resources out there. So again, I encourage people to go to hopeconnectionsforcancer.org.
Excellent. All right. Well, Paula Rothenberg, the CEO of Hope Connections for Cancer Support, we appreciate your time and wish you the best with all of your efforts.
Thank you.
And the website, one more time.
hopeconnectionsforcancer.org.
Excellent. All right. And I'm Bernie Lucas. Thank you for listening.